Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Madcapper and this is another video on Raid Shadow Legends. Starting soon, there will be a 2-time speed event where speed sets will drop at double the rate, as well as of course a tournament that coincides. And to get you better prepared for that, I thought, wow, I might actually get one of these videos out before the event starts. So here it is, the Dragon 24/25 dungeon guide, showcase, whatever you want to call it. The biggest thing to talk about first off is there are 3 different generally accepted levels that you should farm. The first is Dragon 20, Dragon 24, or finally Dragon 25. Each of them have their own bonuses and drawbacks, so let's talk about those briefly before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video. Dragon 20 is obviously the best for speed runs. You can run it the fastest. You can also run it while farming using a champion like Bad L to be able to farm food and at the same time the dragon. It is also the best for tournament points. It is the best and most effective way to get tournament points. So if you're trying to be efficient with regards to the tournament itself, this is the better way to go. 24 is the most efficient overall of these dungeons. This means you're going to get the most silver per run, the best gear per energy, and of course the reasonable tournament, though less than 20 on the tournament value. 25's bonus is that you are getting the best opportunity to get the best gear. While on a per energy basis this is not as efficient, the fact is you're getting better drops. You're getting a better chance to get a better piece of gear. When you're running 2-time event, the chance to get that epic or legendary 6-star piece of speed gear is all too important, and giving yourself the best chance to win is in, of course, Dungeon 25. So with that said, let's just let this finish off here. Boom, we are done. And there you go. This is my first iteration of my free-to-play friendly, I would say. Yes, it is using 2 Royal Guards, but you can do any iteration of this. Well, actually, at the end of this video, show you another iteration where you're only using 1 Royal Guard. But here you go. It's a Visix that you get free. It's a Stag Knight. It's a Gorgorab and 2 Royal Guards. I actually did run this without Gorgorab. I ran it with Scylla the Drakes first. I would love that to be the case, but unfortunately Crimson Helm gives us a little bit of a problem, being that Crimson puts that block and you can sit there in an endless cycle with Scylla and Visix decreasing turn meter. So we put in Gorgorab instead because this A1 has a chance, 50% buggable to 75% chance of removing a random buff. So that kind of helps speed that up. So there you go. 2 minutes, nothing to complain about on Dragon Stage 24. Here's our Seer comp. This is a risk-reward comp because against the dragon itself, it's going to take some damage and you can lose champions here. Generally, if you have them built out beefy enough, it'll work for you. This is, of course, the just a variation of the Seer comp. If you do not have enough crit damage, you can always replace Septimus, but this one here, because you've got the Bad L's putting up some poisons, then of course you have the bombs during the waves. Overall, it's a very nice, fairly efficient, fairly quick run, so let's let this run. And I'm going to do this simultaneously with a second run where we're going to take out our Septimus. If you want something a little more survivable, you're a little more concerned about overall survivability, you can put in my favorite Ursala. Now Ursala is going to give you the attack down, which is going to make it a little bit more consistent. It's also going to add buffs, which means your Seer doesn't have to be quite as crit damage heavy in order to go through the waves. The flip side of this is it's going to be a little bit slower because you are mitigating or reducing some of your own damage as well. So we're going to run them both through and then we'll go with the next one. Well, the Seer comp works really well. It works on both 24 and 25, especially when you put in Ursala. You've got a lot of Void Affinity, which does not have to worry about the different affinities of the Dragon Dungeon. But let's say you don't want to use Seer. If you don't have a Seer that has enough crit damage, it can be difficult to do the waves. Also, if she crunches at the wrong, inopportune time, it can actually lead to a team wipe. So instead, we can bring in the Poison Detonation. Now, this team should look familiar to you. A lot of people have been using at least a similar iteration of it. Maybe you've got Draco instead of Lydia in there. There's different options you can have. We're going with Lydia just for the extra survivability of the strengthen buff that she puts on, and overall it's just going to be a little bit safer of a run for us. But let's just take this one for a go, and then we'll move on to the next. You can see the problem there is it's a little bit slower than the rest. Once you get to the boss, the detonation becomes less of a mechanic that works really well. And now you've got, Bad L's doing his work, but Taurus is kind of a passenger at that point. You saw both times he actually wasn't putting any poisons up during his turn. So overall, not a great comp, but it is a doable comp. Still under 2 minutes, so certainly not a bad one. But I think I would stray away from this and do something a little bit different. Or if you can add extra buffs. One thing I did find is I ran this several times, and more than once, in fact, about 50% of the time, on that first wave, something got resisted. If something gets resisted, it doesn't one-shot. So I either need one more buff, I need some kind of poison spread. It'd be really nice if I could use Harken. But, there are some definite limitations. I wanted to show you this because it is available, but this is not one I'd recommend unless you don't have other options. Or maybe do some kind of hybrid where you take Kymar out, add some kind of survivability, and just kind of rotate around that second wave instead. Just something that's a little bit safer. And for our final team, we're just kind of going to use a mishmash. Just a helpful reminder that use what you got. And we're showing here, you've got your 2 login reward champs. You've got a battle pass champ. If you don't have him, there's other champions you can use in place of him. You've got Royal Guard for some damage, and you've got a rare champion, in this case Frozen Banshee, in there. And the key is just to find whatever way you can to get through these waves and just find the synergies, right? What we have is an attack down, defense down champion. We have control with both stuns and speed decrease and a taunt. We have ally protection for survivability. We have poisons for the boss. We have enemy max HP for the boss and AoE for the waves. Everything put together is not going to be the fastest run, but it's going to be the run that gets you through. And I think that's more important and worth noting is that the most important thing is to make it through these waves, get to the dragon, kill it, and get your extra reward. You want that 2-time event. You want that speed gear. It's better to have a 3-minute team that works than a 2-minute or a 1-minute team that doesn't. So let's see this team in action. There you go, fairly easy. Was never in trouble. You see the 1.4 million out of Visix, 2.1 million out of Frozen Banshee. The highest on the team, by the way, the rare champion in Dragon 24, doing the highest damage on the team. Royal Guard 2.1 as well. Stag Knight doing his job. He's got some attack build on him, but I wanted to make sure he was tanky. And of course, still the Drake. So, I mean, 219. Is that bad that you couldn't use that? I don't think so. I think that's a very good time. I think that no speed. I think this is a team that you can absolutely use, and there's lots of different ones. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna go through each of the champions as briefly as I can, which you know me is not brief at all. Then finally, I'm gonna mention as I go through each of the members anyone who might also be able to do similar jobs, right? So anyone that can also do what you're trying to get out of each of the champions that I use. Alright, time for the long and boring, arduous thing. Keep in mind, I will do chapters so you can skip to the champions you want to see. This will take a long time. The first, Visix the Unbowed. You can see here the main part is to make her survivable. She is crowd control, she is speed decrease, as well as the taunt and the overall survivability with the ally protect. 42, 927, 40, 45 defense, 226 speed, and the 234 crit damage. She can actually do some reasonable damage. She does really good damage, so that's going to help you take down those waves. 264 debuff accuracy, more than enough to run through. Her masteries, Wet with War Master for the extra damage. You could put her in Eagle Eye if you need the extra accuracy. Next up, Lydia. My Lydia is in immunity gear, so we have her at 41, 340, 41, 32 defense, 242 speed. Crit rate, not quite 100%, 424 accuracy. I usually run her 100% crit rate, and I've switched her out into defense boots. I needed to slow her down for a comp. I don't know if it was this. I think it was actually it might have been Fire Knight or a Spider. It was something I was doing that I needed to slow her down. So we slowed her down, but I can always speed her up by putting her in speed boots. So if I need to put her into the arena, she's working for everything at this speed, so we're not going to touch it for most of our content. Her masteries, we go defense support with her just to make her survivable. I don't know if this is the right answer. It is an answer, but we go with Eagle Eye for the extra accuracy. Mainly, this is a Doom Tower thing. I would think that I could take her down offense if I wanted to just use her in PvE content. I think I'd be okay, but I do like having the cycle of revenge. I do like rapid response and these sort of deals. So, I mean, you know, maybe leave a comment down below if you feel like better offense, better defense support. What do you think on Lydia? Next up, we have the... Ooh, who do we have next? So here's Zavia. I actually have her in, as you can see, Seer's gear. And one of the things I didn't realize until after I had already shot all the stuff, and this might be something to make note of, is I would put her in an attack chest, and with Seer, I actually have an accuracy chest. So I would switch that out to make it a lot better, but I was looking for that crit damage at 298, crit rate at 100%, and the speed at 182. Not the fastest in the world. We'd probably do with a little bit more there, but by the time I had pieced everything together, it was a little too... it was too late, so I apologize for that. But we did get a run. I imagine it'll only be better if you get her at the about 4,500 attack. Put her in better Savage gear. Get her up with that 4,500 plus attack, maybe even 5k attack at the same speed and same crit damage. And I think she'd do a lot better even when you get that odd resist. So call that an addendum to the actual what I said in the footage about it not being my favorite. I would have to test it more because I think I didn't give it the fair shake and I didn't even realize it. But that is what her stats would look like there. Again, you say 3782, 182, and 298 with 350 accuracy. Her masteries, we do have her down the flawless execution. You could argue Helm Smasher for the waves might be better, but I want that consistency. I don't want to have to rely on Helm Smasher. So regardless, I want the whole wave to die when you explode the poisons. So to me, this makes more sense. And then we want the extensions. I don't have any books in my Zavia either, so you want to be able to have that extended debuff for her A1 and A2, as well as the extra chance to land it. Bad L here. He's a recent change. I did have him in the high resist so he could solo Dragon 20. I don't do that anymore, so we've switched him out to just reasonable speed. So he goes first 270, 80% crit rate. Probably I'll have to rework him out to 100%, although it's not a huge deal for him. It is always nice to have 59k HP and 342 debuff accuracy. Originally I had him obviously at about 240 accuracy and about 400 resist. So I can always switch him back to that, but it does slow him down a bit. So for now, we'll keep him like this, and we'll see. I mean, I play with him all the time, so probably change it. Still the Drakes. Accuracy speed is the name of the game for her, and we have her at 39k HP. Obviously, the nice defensive stalwart, 4579. Speed at 217. Don't at me. 99% crit rate. I'll get rid of it one day, I promise. 256 resistance, which oddly enough is just happenstance. I don't think I was necessarily trying. I don't have her in a resist banner or a resist chest. It just happens she has lots of resist gear on. And then the 339 accuracy. I mean, she has a defense, but it's a triple resist on it. So it just so happens to be that we've got a lot of resistance in there. Look, it's even only a single there. So is what it is, right? We have the accuracy, and that's the main thing. As far as her masteries go, I do still have her in Helm Smasher just because in all the different content she does, it's nice to have that Helm Smasher hit. Again, if you want to go the other way, I do have her in kind of an old offense build. I don't build out offense this way anymore. I've changed to make sure I always get Ruthless Ambush and Heart of Glory at 99% of what I do. So I could rebuild this out, but I'm not going to right now. Nice to get the Spirit Haste. Timely Intervention, you could argue, because she does have a revive, but we wanted to go for the damage. Our Kymar, look at that. So I haven't even finished really building out my second Kymar because I only use him for the slow reset. So I've never had a need for him. I think eventually I'll build him out in immunity so I can have a faster Kymar out of immunity and a slower Kymar, or I mean as fast as I can go, but inevitably it'll be a slower Kymar in immunity. But for now, it's low priority on my build list. So we have him in a shield set. This allows him to get the extra buffs to bring in for Seer to eat. And that's really all he's about. So the stats aren't really, they're kind of irrelevant, to be honest with you. Maybe even I'll put Renegade in this position instead, and then we can create our Kymars for, both Kymars for Arena. Next on the list, I feel like I'm missing some legendaries in between, but hopefully I didn't miss any in the different comps. But here's our Septimus. We have him in immunity for no other reason than to add a buff. I don't think I need that anymore, but I don't think I need to change it either, because he's already crit capping on the boss, and he's a passenger for the waves. So what do I really need other than maybe speed him up a bit so he takes more turns? Might be good. Maybe in Relentless so he gets more opportunities. Maybe in Refresh, the reflex gear, so that he can get that cooldown quicker on his A2. Those are all great options. But just to see where he's at, 4,200 attack, speed 200, 108 crit rate, my apologies, and 259 crit damage. Does not need anywhere near these stats to be able to max out on the 10% damage that the bosses in 21 through 25 get. So you can make him way more tanky and way less crit damagey, and he's still going to be able to do everything for you. So I would speed him up, maybe into reflex gear. Maybe we'll look at that for a special video on enemy max HP in the new dungeons. His masteries, we did go to War Master to just get that extra damage. I think it's the way to go. If I rebuild him and I don't have enough crit damage, we can go to Flawless Execution, but I think Helm Smasher days on this guy are over. Ursala, my favorite champion. She's still in her arena gear, although I did reconfigure her arena gear to make her a little bit faster so I can use her in dungeons. She was way too slow the last time, so we now have her at 57k HP, 2800 defense. I did sacrifice defense boots for speed boots, so hopefully that still makes her viable in next time I do for a platinum push. 213 speed. I would like to cap her crit rate. I think all your supports should have capped crit rate if you can, and if you're not sacrificing their primary goal. And in this case, I don't think I would be. We have plenty of accuracy, which is the main goal, is for her to put that attack down, give us the attack boost, the buffs to eat, those sort of things. Her masteries, we have Timely Intervention for the revive. We have just Selfless Defender because she's got pretty good HP. This is another champion. If you didn't know, Ivor and Swift Parry, shield set would be perfectly fine. If you need a shield set champion, she will absolutely work for that to help engage your Seer. I'm sure glad it snaps all the way to the top every time. Can we talk about Harkin? Nah, we're not. I'm not ready. I think, what did I call her in the video? I don't even remember. Not good is what I called her. Not the right name. Harkin. I've been playing. Yeah, anyway. Seer. Savage gear with crit damage gear, so we can get ourselves up. This is actually lower than it should be. I was using her at 305. I had to steal some gear from her. She's still working for me, so I'm not really worried about changing it back. If I ever have a problem with that, then I'll change her back. But for now, I'm perfectly fine with that. Doesn't really need attack. We're all about that, eating the buffs and doing the big damage, and making sure we have the accuracy to do so. So that's her there. I do have her in Flawless Execution. I believe this is the right choice. How I got here maybe is not the right choice, but because I hadn't fully buffed her out, I didn't get her full scrolls. Again, I'm not so worried about it because she's working to change this, but I think going with the Heart of Glory is the better option. So you go Deadly Precision, Keen Strike, Heart of Glory, and then you drop down here to go. You know, you can go with the Keen Strike. Just have to make sure that she's killing. So the only caveat, the only fear about going this way is make sure that you're not gaining that extra speed, because that could spell trouble if you then make her faster than your buff. So just keep that in mind. If that's the case, then just forego Ruthless Ambush. It is a nice to have, but it's not a critical to have. And then go with Life Drinker. I do like getting Bring It Down. And then what I would probably do is go with Wrath of the Slain into Blood Shield over to Flawless Execution that way. So you know, just my opinion. And then you can either go with methodical or kill streak to see, you know, as your other one, your other T5. So I don't necessarily recommend this build, but you know, like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I haven't bothered changing it up. Gorgorab, no masteries. Yeah, he's better with masteries. Don't need him. For what I've ever used him for, it's never been a thing, so I always thought I'd save the money. But HP, he's just survivable, speed. He does need some debuff accuracy because we were using his A1 skill to be able to remove a random buff. I don't even have him booked. I got Gorgorab so late in my account's life that the only thing I use him for is Faction Wars. So bringing him into these Dragon runs is just something I've never had to do in the past. And after this video, I probably won't. I'll probably just run the Seer Comp, or maybe if I can rework the poisons properly, re-gear my Zavia. The Royal Guards. Here we have Royal Guard 1 in Savage. I have not fully reworked these guys. I've kind of stolen a few items from them, so they're not quite where they used to be, but you can still see they're still doing enough damage. And what I think my recommendation on the Royal Guards are, you see this one's Savage. He's obviously hitting harder, but not in Savage. Masteries. He's got the War Master proc. My recommendation, based on everything I've done here, is if you're still using Royal Guards, your primary is probably the waves. And if that is the case, I would actually switch back to Helm Smasher. I like the zigzag, like this. I like this. They're slow enough. They're not going to outpace my debuff, so I'm okay there. I like having the full HP. I like having Ruthless Ambush. And then coming down here, the only difference is I would go Helm Smasher on him. And probably not support. Maybe if you're using a dual Royal Guard, go one support, one not. If you are going to go down support, make sure that you're building them out with some accuracy. Enough accuracy, like this guy isn't, but the other guy is. Enough accuracy that they can land their A3. Hamstring, which is a really nice, it's 4 times at random, but it's got that decreased speed, which is very nice. And the turn meter, the chance to reduce the turn meter. So just keep that in mind with your Royal Guards. I think you can play around to get that accuracy now that you don't need as much damage on the bosses. But these Royal Guards are really good at clearing waves still, so you're going to want to just min-max their damage. That is your priority over the speed debuff. And we have our Stag Knight. Our Stag Knight is in a shield set, so I can use different comps with him and Seer. We do that a lot. I do that a lot. He's 231, so he's going first. He's got too much crit rate. We'll fix that. I was trying to fix it before, but it's weird. The shield sets that I have are just weird. Anyway, that's what we got. And then 208 crit damage, 290 accuracy. I would like to get him more attack because he can actually do pretty good damage, but my priority is to get him in that shield set and get his speed and his accuracy. Then we'll go back and we'll look at it. So the final thing I want to talk about today is to talk to you about how to approach these dungeons. I've shown you some examples, but there is by far not even close to all the different comps out there. There are so many different ways you can get through these, and not all of them are speed runs. There are some that are fast, there's some that are slow, but they're all there to do one thing, and that is to high rate of completion on getting the best possible champions, right? Or the best possible artifact drops. Tomb Lord's really good. I know I don't have him, but I know he can actually solo these, and he's really good at this dungeon overall. He's going to be really good in Poison Explosion as well. So don't feel like you're penciled into one type of comp. If you don't have Seer, you can still do this. Just take a look at what you need. There are basically 3 elements you need. You need damage on the waves, you need damage on the boss, and you need survivability to be able to do both. And you know, when you talk about doing that, control is huge, right? If you're not burning the waves like a Seer, then you need to control. So taunts, Molly is a good Visix replacement. Krisk, anyone with an AoE taunt, 1 turn, 2 turn, doesn't matter. If you can AoE taunt, then you're going to be great. Stuns are great. Sylar in a stun set. Turn meter control is great. Deacon, right? He's got a defense down and the turn meter control. You can bring in Padma if you need that attack down and you're not using Stag Knight. You have plenty of options. Just control, control, control. Take down the waves with damage, and then when you get to the boss, Either the same champions have to be able to sustain that damage through the boss fight, or you need to bring in a secondary one, like we did with Frozen Banshee, for example, to help with the boss so that you can take it down in a reasonable time. Heals, revives, obviously, as part of that sustain model. And there are plenty of champions, like I said, that can help you with this. It's just a matter of picking the ones for whatever dungeon can work for you. If 25 is your better dungeon, stick with 25. The efficiency is so minute that at the end of the day, it's more important that you get 100% survivability. Same goes for 24. If that's your better dungeon, don't worry about the small chance of getting a slightly better overall drop, not rate, but drop quality out of 25. Just stick with 24. And if you can't do either, stick with 20. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the best for tournaments. It's going to get you the gear you want during this 2-time event. That's all. I appreciate you sticking with me. I hope you like and subscribe, share it with your friends, and most importantly, I want you guys to stay safe, be kind. We'll see you in the next video.